Today we're going to talk about how to create a box plot or a box and whiskers plot. Let's do that with an example. Let's suppose there's a person that comes to the hospital and the nurse at the check-in says, "Let me take your temperature." And the temperature is 98.3. Alright, so then the next person comes to the hospital and the nurse keeps taking their temperature and this person is 99.1. And then the third person comes 97.2. And then the fourth person 98.5, and people just keep coming, keep coming, and keep coming. You know how hospitals are. So the temperature keeps getting recorded, and the nurse keeps recording them in his or her notebook. And after a while, we get a bunch of people, and now this is your data set. To start constructing the box plots, now we draw a number line that, of course, matches the scale of the data. So here's the number line, and now we just need to place every single person in this number line. The first person, 98.3, goes right there. I'm just going to put it as a dot just for better visualization. And the second person, third person, fourth person, 98.5, goes right there. And then we just keep doing this until we reach, oh, look at that person, 98.3, there's already someone there. So what do? I'm just going to stack it. Now let's just put everybody down there and stack them up, and look at that, we have a bonus here. This is a dot plot. A dot plot is just like a histogram, which you can see in my other video. Let's now create our box plots. To do that, we're just going to first divide the data in half. Half to the left, half to the right, and we're going to draw a line right there in the middle. That is going to be the median. Then consider the points to the left of the median. Divide them in half again. And draw a line just to split them in half. This is the first quartile, Q1. Now consider the data to the right of the median and do the same thing, split it in half. That's the third quartile. And there you go, you have your box. That's the box of the box plot. Now let's draw some whiskers that go from minimum to maximum. This is why this is also known as the box and whiskers plot. Now a little bit of interpretation. Below the first quartile, that data there represents 25% of the data, or a quarter of the data set. Then we have the other quarter of the data set between Q1 and the median, and then another quarter of the data points between the median and Q3. And then finally, the last quarter of the data set between Q3 and the maximum. Another important measure that we can see from the box plot is the interquartile range, which is basically the size of the box. Our box here goes from 97.8 to 99.1, so our interquartile range is 1.3. Now you may be asking yourself, I've seen other box plots before and they had those points at the edges. What are those? Well, those are detected as outliers. To show them in your box plots, you're going to take the interquartile range and you're going to go 1.5 times the interquartile range and reduce the whisker to that point. Anything beyond that point is going to be an outlier. Then you just shorten the whisker to the last point that is not an outlier, and voila, you have a box plot. Now let's bring up the data scientist within us and create a box plot in the computer using data, Excel, R, and Python today. Quick pause. The sponsor of the video today is your like button, so click that like button. So in Excel, you're just gonna get the data in like I have it here, one column with the temperature, all the temperatures that we just saw in our example. You're gonna select all those numbers in that column, and then you're going to go to Insert, and then you're going to choose the graphs where you have statistical graphs, and you're just going to click on Box Plot. As simple as that. Now let's talk about how to do it in R. So first, let's read in the data frame. So here I have read.csv to read in a CSV file where I saved the data, temperature.csv. And we're going to take a look at the data just to make sure that everything is there. There you go. And now, in order to create a box plot, all you need to do is just call in a function called boxplot. So just type in boxplot between parentheses df, That's our data frame, and I'm gonna make it a little prettier. I'm gonna put a title here, box plot, and I'm also going to put some labels on the X and the Y axis. So X label here is going to be the temperature, and the Y label is going to be Fahrenheit, which is the scale we measured the data. So just type that in, hit run, and there you go. Now in Python, let's open our Jupyter notebook and import pandas so we can read in the data set. So here import pandas as PD. Our data frame is going to be read underscore CSV. Type in our file temperature.csv. We're going to call in a print of your data set just to make sure that it was read. Now let's call the boxplot directly from pandas. You just do df.boxplot, your data frame.boxplot, and hit run, and there you go. You have the boxplot. Another way to do that is using a Seaborn package. So we're gonna import Seaborn here as SNS. Then we can use the Seaborn boxplot function, input it with the data frame that we have, hit run, and you're done.